Episode 6. Who is Judy Carpenter?
Who is Judy Carpenter? Apparently, this is the question that launched 1,000 ships. And by 1,000 ships, I mean like a handful of random links and users from a forum dedicated to number stations and other creepypasta audio. Nat was obviously skeptical at first. The forum was mostly talking third-hand about hidden RSS feeds that the CIA operates to communicate with their spies. You know how it is with these people? They scour the internet looking for things to be paranoid about. But then she found the post that started the whole conversation. And by post, I mean audio. It was an MP3 file that was simply labeled jcarp1. Supposedly, the original file was in Spanish, and it took a few of these users to find someone who could translate it. I've got the translated file some guy 137 uploaded. Hold on.
Alright, this is my English translation of J.Carp1. Alright, here we go. Gone away, lover, find me. Ah! The wind is striking today, kicking up dust and holding me captive, waiting for my love. I have a hankering for a coffee. I think I might find it when my true love holds it for me. I hate coffee. There's a beautiful white flag above the balcony where I drink my morning tea. I have been hoping to see who flies it, who lives in the apartment above me. I plan to find out if it's someone who understands what I've been looking for, my true love, on these long journeys. I write poetry to help me think. In new lands, there's something peaceful about speaking in new tongues, in words that change meaning when you find the translation. If you have any trouble finding me, my love, you can find me under the white flag. I bought a new cell phone today. Mine was stolen on the bus to the McDonald's. The prices are too high, but at least they have a battery that lasts more than a few hours. I'm gonna go out and get some chips, and then maybe some coffee at Quantico. Maybe I'll sing more there. It's funny enough to try my hand at it, alone in my apartment. I think it's time to go public. All right, I'm gonna have a full breakdown on what I think this all means in the forums. See you there.
Pretty dramatic, right? Most of the other users think it is just bad poetry, but a few are trying to interpret it. Some are thinking the mention of Quantico points to Virginia, probably with the Marines. Nat thinks it's a mistranslation. If we can find the original recording, we might be able to see if it's your voice, not some dude in his basement who believes the earth is flat. Plus, the whole reference to singing, it seems like there was a song cut off in the beginning. It's something, though, especially if we look at it through the lens of Judy Carpenter being some sort of cover. According to this forum, there's a bunch of scattered breadcrumbs that they all think is connected to this mysterious character on the internet. There's an ongoing challenge to find the next breadcrumb. This is what we know for right now. Nat is digging in more today.
Voice note sent.
I forgot how much like a dog with a bone you can get about a good puzzle. Thanks again, Nat, for helping to connect the dots.
Voice note sent.
Remember theater? I just think of it as improv. Dots of weird little plot points. I guess that's what makes me a good open source investigator on the internet. Look beyond the obvious answer. Tell a good story.
Voice note sent.
Oh yeah, I remember that class. I hated those exercises. Still, it's good to get in touch, even under these circumstances.
Voice note sent.
Though to be honest, I kind of feel bad. I'm glad you can help out, but I'm sure this is bringing up bad memories. How are you doing?
Voice note sent.
I'm sorry, maybe that was an invasive question.
Voice note sent.
No, it's fine. I got distracted. Thanks for asking. I get it. But what happened to my sister happened almost 20 years ago. If anything, this is helping me feel I have a sense of control over it, in a weird way.
Voice note sent.
Okay, good. Well, not good. It's really horrible all around. Terrible. And I'm glad the whole situation with murders of indigenous people and girls in America has gotten more attention recently, too. It sucks that your sister couldn't count on the better community consciousness. Wow. Sorry, that was just word vomit. Yeah.
Voice note sent.
It's okay. Well, it's not, but maybe if we find Junie, you can donate my finder's fee to your local #landback initiative.
Voice note sent.
Oh, no question. Which one? I guess we could focus on Vancouver, or California, or Florida. Is there one in Florida? Or Massachusetts, since that's where you and I met. Or maybe we'll do all four. Yeah.
Voice note sent.
Careful there, settler. That almost sounds like reverse colonization. I'm gonna be radio silent for a bit. I need to focus. Talk soon.
Voice note sent.
Hey, Junie. I don't know if you have any of that good government money scrolled away, but I think you should give it to Nat for a finder's fee when this is all over. For emotional re-triggering. Or something.
Voice note sent.
Junie, you know, I've been thinking about something else. Seeing all these conspiracy theories, the whole paranoia thing that Dad always says, I know I haven't always been the most up-to-date on politics or history. I prefer what's going on now. Like, my major in environmental science. We learned inside out about climate change, so I get those things, and I get how policy affects people. But the rest of it, the details, that was always your purview. You knew more about that, but I guess I really never listened. I know we should be suspicious about big companies and their pollution, their messaging to try to heft the blame of climate change on people who use plastic straws, but I guess I never really saw it clearly until all this. I think before you disappeared, I would have looked at these message boards, these forums, and be like, these are just right-wing anti-government libertarians, not to be taken seriously. But now with everything going on, I can kind of see where they get hooked. Why people should be paranoid about other people. Government conspiracies. But where does the line lie? Where do you hold the government accountable without sliding into anti-Semitic talking points? I wish this was something you'd respond to. You usually had a response to these questions for me. But then again, you were the government conspiracy. With all fake identity, even. What makes me think I should trust you? Sorry. Weird thoughts at 3 a.m.
Voice note sent.
The world is not black and white. I think the three of us learned that very early on, seeing it firsthand the way we did. The Canadians bagged their milk. The Italians treat falling over themselves in soccer as a point of national pride. The Argentines conveniently ignore the reason they have Italian and German-inspired cuisine. The CIA gave intelligence to the Ukrainians to push out the Russians, but they also planted crack cocaine in black neighborhoods. I get it. The world is complicated. Some things are more complicated than others, especially when you throw abuse of power and all that. Maybe that's why you joined the CIA. Maybe that's why you left. Just... it's hard to square my beloved sister into an organization that deserves a lot of the hatred it's been dealt. I'll try to reserve judgment for now, I guess, until you have something to say for yourself in response.
Voice note sent.
I found the original recording. I'm linking it to the next message. Group video chat? Hey team, so, any initial thoughts on this particular discovery?
Mostly confused. So there's 2 audio files that she recorded.
At least! I found the original JCarp1 file and a dead link to a JCarp2 file. There is a hidden RSS feed somewhere. But I think it's just Juniper. Thing is, I don't speak Spanish. If there was a mistranslation in the first file, did either of you catch it?
Yeah, about that.
Junie is the only one of the 3 of us who can speak Spanish more or less fluently.
What? Seriously? Your dad? All those countries? And neither of you?
Hey, I learned French in college, and I know some Spanish. Junie didn't learn Spanish until college either, and she picked up Mandarin. Lupe, you speak, German, right?
Kinda. It's been a while since I've used it. I've picked up some French, though, living in Canada and everything.
Okay, I get it. You're all very cultured. And you know what? I shouldn't judge. I didn't pick up Chamtela until high school. And it's an endangered language. We all have our responsibilities, right? Maybe send this to your dad, then?
He's currently detained, and more Junie info is probably not going to help him out. We have some cousins that still speak Spanish at home, though. We can send it to Hector?
Ugh, Hector.
I'll text him now. Sheesh. One argument about climate change.
He thinks it's a hoax! Even after his house was flooded 3 times in the last 10 years. We don't have 100-year floods anymore. They're like 5-year floods.
I suggest you get it translated from whoever you can that is actually a Spanish speaker. Plus, it begins early. There's a whole song that needs to be translated or sourced at least. Shazam was useless. Also, I did catch a couple mistranslations. First, she never mentions McDonald's. She says Los Acros, so the arches. A bit of creative, albeit false, connecting of the dots there. And she doesn't say Quantizo. She says Quentin.
Does that narrow it down at all?
Besides the movie director? Not really. I think if it's in Spanish, then she is probably talking about an actual person or place that has a Spanish name. The second file is what is more interesting to me. It's corrupted. But besides the title J Carp 1, I got the year of creation for that and the other file. They were both created 4 years ago.
She was in the CIA at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, and wasn't that the year she was in Mexico City?
For a State Department internship, yeah. Wait. Oh, okay, so that was probably a cover.
Obviously. But how does this help us with figuring out what she was looking for now?
Quentin Cafe. It's a coffee shop in Mexico City. That's what she's referring to.
Probably as a way to meet with a source? But what for?
Even if the translation was run 5 times through Google Translate, she's talking about going to a new cell phone that was stolen near Los Acros and then going to the cafe. Los Acros? It's a restaurant, not a bus station. But get this. Los Acros is right beside the Chinese embassy.
Oh, Junie had a research capstone about Chinese business investments in Latin America.
Wait, how do you know that?
Don't you remember? She wouldn't shut up about it for months. Anytime anyone would mention China or Latin America, she'd bring up the U.S. pivot away from the Monroe Doctrine and how the U.S. is now focusing towards Asia, or whatever. It was annoying.
Guess it wasn't annoying enough for me to remember.
Come to think of it. Hold on. I need to look at some dates. What year did we take that vacation to Italy?
6 years ago! I was bugging you about it for the past week! That's when you and Junie started saying that weird Wizard of Oz version of "Don't let the bastards get you down," and you still haven't clarified why Junie would say that in her, voice note manifesto.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It's that illegitimus thing. I did find that comment odd.
So was it some kind of code? Did she use it to tell you something about what she was working on? What are you writing?
A timeline. Well, what we know so far. 6 years ago, Juniper was still in college. She had a research capstone that got her some decent honors, right? We know that she was recruited into the CIA around the time she graduated, probably in the spring. That summer, we go overseas to Britain and Italy, and wasn't there a whole thing about whether or not Junie would go?
Yeah, but Grandma Pam wasn't in good health. Mom made a huge fuss about making sure everyone could see her before Grandma declined.
Right. The CIA is particular about foreign contacts, so maybe they didn't want her going out of the country so close to her training or whatever. Anyway, Juniper says she's working an internship with the State Department in D.C. while getting her master's. She's there for 2 years, and then she's in Mexico City. The pandemic hits, but she gets a job back in the U.S. Some kind of tech startup out in Seattle.
Another cover!
Another cover. Then, last year, she moves to Cambodia.
And then in September, she comes here, and at some point between then and Thanksgiving, disappears to Cuba.
Yeah, but all this tells me is that she was probably working some kind of spy thing around China, right? What does that mean about where she is now? Does what she was working on even matter? Forget it. This audio file stuff is probably just a wild goose chase. It's Mom. Nat, can we call you back?
Yeah, sure. I'll keep digging. See if any of these points to where Juniper is now.
Junie, Dad's been released. Thank God. Mom says that he's fine and that they still haven't been able to give us any more information about the progress on the search for you, which sucks, but we've decided to keep this under wraps for the most part. Mom and Dad don't need to know what we're looking into. Nat is still looking. I think Lupa's right, though. What's the point of knowing where you've been, what you've been working on, if it has nothing to do with why you left? I just wish... Hey, Lupita? Were you expecting a package?
No. Why?
I'm going to see what's up. Talk soon.
Voice note sent.
Hey, team. Well, you aren't answering your phones. So, I'm guessing you also just received an unmarked package with airplane tickets to Mexico City? Guys, what the hell is going on?
Voice note sent.
Hey,
Oh, hey.
got any more of those donut holes? I'm dying.
Tim Bits. They're called Tim Bits. Come on, put some respect to the name.
My bad. Praise be the Timbits.
Yeah, gosh, here.
Yeah, this is the stuff. Anything while I was on the phone?
Nope. Just a mailman. How about you? Any news from your boss? How much longer are we expected to observe, anyway?
Well, they just released the father on his own recognizance. And I'm scheduled to report back to D.C. tomorrow.
Oh, there's still no direct contact, eh?
Nope. But then again, my office is only focused on the family. Who knows what rabbit holes Langley has their eyes on?
Oh, boy. I do not envy you your job. You know, left hand, don't see what the right hand's doing and all that stuff. No thanks.
Well, pretty sure that's the way it is everywhere. At least as far as I can tell.
Well, I suppose. And again, any spy games we get into are usually caught up with you guys. Figure it's a way for Ottawa to get in on some kind of action every once in a while, eh? But besides, you know, the occasional maple syrup heist.
Wait, that was really a thing? You're kidding.
Oh, yeah. About 10 years ago. Nuts. But hey, what else are you going to do in the winter up here but plan a heist? You know, you could go to a movie, or you could shack up with somebody, or, drink, maybe.
All right, well, fair enough. Speaking of, isn't there supposed to be snow in a couple days?
Oh, yeah, probably.
Turn up the radio, will you? I need to see if I'm actually going to be able to get out of here if I do get recalled to D.C.
Can I turn up the radio, please? And yes, here.
Bundle up, Vancouver. Our unseasonal warm streak is coming to an end. We're hanging around freezing in the metro area for the next few days, with solid below-freezing temps overnight. Environment and Climate Change Canada says we could see wet flurries, with temperatures close to 2 degrees overnight and a high of 7 degrees Celsius during the day.
Cielo mayormente despejado. Máximo de 24 grados durante el día, 8 grados esta noche.
So, Menendez, you're still insisting on bringing civilians into the game. Your family, no less. Haven't I taught you better than that? This is exactly what I meant when I told you that too many points of contact will unravel the story. Too many details makes the mask brittle. You need to wrap it up in truth's death shroud. Instead, you're... Oh. Honestly, I don't know what you're doing. Maybe you have gone insane. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think you can just expect they will figure out what is really going on? 6 years of lies. That's a lot of stories wrapped up in truth. Even I wouldn't be able to untangle all of it. But I'll just start with this little trip down memory lane. It was clever. The RSS feed? I should have known you were using something else to communicate with your assets. DST loved you. You always had all sorts of new ideas, unassuming twists on emerging technology, the Twitter ad campaigns that only ran the length of time you were available in any given city. Shared coffee gift cards that, when used, signal a meeting? No more chalk marks. You developed your own arsenal of signals. It was brilliant. You were willing to share those tactics with the company, though, weren't you? Not this. You knew that it would be underestimated as an information medium. Everyone has a podcast these days, after all. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old. Or maybe you're just getting messy. An open source message board. Really? I get that you're trying to lay breadcrumbs, but every single one of them are points of contact, Menendez. You have no control over how the information is disseminated at this point. I'll give you this, though. I did always tell you, have the guts to do the job. Get out into the field. Recruit assets. If you're gonna fall forward. I just expected you knew that you were falling for the company, not... Well, regardless, we'll see which game piece they find first. And then you can decide if it's worth falling over. Talk soon, Judy.
Voice note sent.
Hello, Lisette Alvarez here. Happy Boxing Day to those who celebrate. The Menendez family, and mine, will be taking a little bit of a mid-season hiatus for the holidays. It's the perfect time to encourage folks to catch up here on the feed, and of course, the forum for additional in-universe digital and in-person puzzles. You know that clip in the beginning of this episode? Yeah, some guy 137 seems to have stumbled upon the first episode of a hidden podcast feed. Can you help him find it before our Scooby Gang decides whether or not they're about to embark on a trip to Mexico? Havana Syndrome Season 1 continues on January 9th, 2025. Dimitri Menendez is played by Ralph Ruiz. Guadalupe Menendez is played by Adriene Arce. Natalie Johnson is played by Natalie Campos. Some Guy 137 is played by Bjorn Munson. Mark Williams is played by Nick Folson. The Mountie is played by Tyler Hyrchuk. The Canadian Weatherman is played by Graham Rowat. The Mexican weathered person is played by Nathaly Vasquez. Special Agent Celia Whittiker is played by Whitney Johnson. And the Supervisor is played by Scott Welnosky.
Havana Syndrome is written and produced by Lisette Alvarez. This is a Stormfire Productions podcast. Thank you for listening.